Happy November, everyone. Today I'll be talking about a topic that's very near and dear to my heart and that I think a few people need to hear. I went to college attending an animation program for 4 years, one of the most well-respected ones in California. When I got accepted, my program leaders told me that their program would make me ready to get a job in the industry and with the connections I would need to do so. That was not true. In fact, most of my teachers, the ones who actually had experience trying to get animation jobs, told us the opposite, that it's very difficult and you need to be putting in the work outside of what the classes offer. Now, I graduated early in 4 years from a 5-year program because at that point I knew finishing would be a complete waste of money, especially because the last year was one class. And I still know everything I need to know. I've been applying to internships for 3 years. I have never been considered for a single one. I have the skills, I have plenty of work to show, and it has gotten me nowhere. In fact, I only know one single person from my program who successfully got an internship at a studio, and it was as a production assistant. Now I'm talking about in my few years, surrounding, the year that I went. I don't know about people who were 10 years older than me, but based on what I've seen in LinkedIn, they're totally fine. Now, she makes spreadsheets all day and takes calls. She doesn't have any part of the creative process at all, and she's an incredibly talented artist, and still this is all there is for her. I know artists who are even better than her, insanely talented prodigy kids, and they're also getting nothing. And we're applying places that aren't big studios, we're applying to positions we don't want, and we're even applying to jobs that just utilize one of our artistic skills, but nope. Do you know how many jobs I see on LinkedIn and Indeed that look at first like a good artistic job, and then I go to the description and the job is actually to train an AI to do the things that I want a career doing? It's absolutely fucked. Literally, what world are we living in? Also, just the amount of entry-level positions that require several years of experience, which nobody has if they're trying to get an entry-level position. My dad has a friend in the animation industry, and he asked me if there's anything for me. And he said he can't even help his own son, who goes to a hella prestigious art school, get a job. He has all the resources. His dad works in the industry. He has an amazing education. He's doing everything I am and more, and nothing's happening because nobody is taking jobs. I'm in the hub of animation. I'm living right there in LA, and there's nothing I can do. Every studio has about 2 or 3 animation internships every season, sometimes less than that. There's going to be hundreds and thousands of other people applying, and it takes a lot for a portfolio to actually stand out. And that internship, even if you get it, is not necessarily going to help you get an actual job, but at least it's experience and it's something you can put on your resume to get the other entry-level positions that you might want. Why aren't there jobs for animation? Well, that's complicated. Animation recently has been simultaneously struggling and thriving. Now is the time to want to work in animation, but not the time to actually work in animation. There are so many cool small projects that are popping off, but the huge big name studios are not. They're not marketing properly for their animation. They're putting it straight to streaming, and then when it doesn't make any money, they go, let's create a shitty live action remake of a movie we've already done, because nobody's watching it anyway. Pixar, one of the biggest animation studios, that one that was once considered the cream of the crop of animation studios, is coming out with good stuff that nobody's watching because their marketing is terrible. Since COVID-19, every Pixar trailer I've seen has made me not want to watch the movie. In fact, they make me want to avoid it at all costs. And then I watch it, or someone else watches it, and it's totally fine, even really good. I think the only recent Pixar movie that hasn't suffered from poor marketing was Inside Out 2, and I'm looking forward to the newest movie because I actually thought the trailer wasn't half bad. But I haven't seen any other marketing about it at all. It looks stupid as fuck, but at least funny and somewhat unique in its art style, which makes me think Pixar is finally getting on track to stop their bean mouth art style every single movie, which is just like pissing everyone off, really. Movies in general are struggling. Streaming has ruined the box office revenue. People are making movies, but the movies aren't drawing in money at the theater because people aren't going to the theater because movie tickets are outrageously expensive and there's not much incentive to see them in the theater. It'll come to streaming eventually, and in the meantime, we can rewatch our favorites from the times when things were nice. I also want to touch on this. I didn't write this in my script, but I wanted to touch on how a lot of theaters, especially like in LA, are bringing back older films, and showing them like actually on film, which is just an experience that I feel like a lot of people, especially in like my generation, want, because like the kind of return back to analog media is just like very fascinating in this like digital world and like nostalgic, and I think more people are longing for a time when things were simpler, and so I feel like a lot of people would rather have that experience than go to the theater and see a new movie, you know? That's not true for everyone, but I wanted to put that out there. And another thing is, I had to cancel all my subscriptions because the only reason I could afford them is because I had a student discount. Now, this is for all like animation tools, which meant I could access all the Adobe products for free. I could access Maya for free, and all Toon Boom products were at a pretty great rate. I had to pay for them, but they were a lot less than they would have been. Do you know how much Storyboard Pro costs without a student discount? It's $75 a month and nearly $600 a year. Now, when I signed up for it last year, it was only about $400 a year. It's gone up $200. In no world am I able to afford that. I couldn't afford it when it was $400. I barely was able to afford it when I was using a student discount, and it was only like $98. And I can't even try to work on my storyboard portfolio or try to improve it because guess what? I can't even afford to open the app. And there's genuinely no reason a simple storyboard software should cost that much, like ever. It's ridiculous. You're telling me I can get a billion movies for less than $20 a month, but if I want to create literally the bones of a scene of a movie, I have to pay upwards of 3 times that amount. I mean, you can literally find free 3D rigs online everywhere, free 3D programs online everywhere. And that is, those rigs, those are something that somebody made by hand with a lot of effort and time. Animators who are learning can use them for free. So why isn't it the same when I literally just want to use a simple computer program? Maybe I'm stupid, but I don't get it like at all. Doesn't make any sense to me. Now, I don't want to discourage anyone from pursuing animation, pursuing film, or pursuing their dreams, but just know that this is a difficult time to want to work in animation and film. And if you're trying really hard and not getting anything, no, it's not your fault. And if you're feeling burnt out after graduation and losing your passion for art, that's totally fine. It's very normal. It'll come back. I know sometimes making art your career can make you not want to create art unless you're incentivized to. That's what happens to a lot of art students. So take a break for a while. Focus on your life and your health. Make art your hobby when you're finally in a headspace to create, and that love will eventually come back. I know it seems hopeless now, but you'll be okay. If you're worried about AI, I am too. In fact, that's one of those things that infuriates me to no end. But go to a local art fair. It's like a breath of fresh air to see older and younger people who are actually painting and weaving and sculpting and making actual art. I love going to these things like these and just looking around and appreciating this real artistry and what everyone can do with their hands and when they think. Go to a museum if you can. Go out and see a fucking good movie. Remember why you fell in love with art in the first place, and you'll feel inspired again. I love you. If you watched this whole video, thank you so much. And if you're going through this as well, I'd love to hear your experience. If any artists have any advice for each other, leave it in the comments. I want to foster a community here of people who have creative passion of any kind. So, see you next time.